What is up, everybody? This is Modern Randy. I am Randy. As always, guys, if you like what I'm doing, you like what you're seeing, go ahead and leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the news that's happening with Magic right now about MTG 25, as well as all the videos I'm going to be doing with Standard, getting ready to come into the RCQ season. And let's get to it. So this is everything we know about what's going into Magic the Gathering in 2025, what's going to be happening, what's going on in Foundation so far with some of the new spoilers we've gotten, and what we're all kind of like really looking at and looking forward to seeing. So a quick look at Magic here in 2025. We have a couple new sets coming out. We have Aether Drift is going to be the first set to come out, the first standard set coming out. I'm really looking forward to that. It looks like it's focusing mostly on like this kind of like racing idea. There's going to be a lot of artifacts. Looks like we're kind of going back to Kaladesh. So we're going to have a lot of artifacts. We're going to have a lot of vehicles. Going to see if we can make some newer vehicles actually be well positioned. I know when they first came out, kind of like a real miss on most of them. Going on with that, we also have Tarkir Dragonstorm coming out after that. Really looking forward to that. We're going back to more of the tribal or clans back on Tarkir, so I'm really interested to see what's going on with that. Got a new Ugin that has been, the art has been showcased for it, but we haven't gotten any kind of idea what it's going to look like besides the fact that it is a planeswalker, so really excited with that. Final Fantasy is going to be a universe from beyond that will be standard legal. Notably too, going forward, there is going to be all the universe from beyond sets are going to be standard legal as well as pioneer legal. Now this doesn't change anything about what's already come out, so the Lord of the Rings set is still only modern and further back legal. Same thing with the Assassin's Creed, so that's not going to change anything. Those are going to retroactively become standard or come in pioneer, thankfully. But so Final Fantasy and moving forward will all be legal for standard and pioneer. Going to be really interesting to see how that works out, what they do with it. Then we have Edge of Eternities. We don't really know too much about that other than it's in space. So it looks like we have Tezzeret and the Wandering Emperor is going to be the planeswalkers there. So it should be interesting, as well as it basically makes the joke with the Edge joke. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of memes coming out with that set as well. And then we're going to Spider-Man is another Universe Beyond set. So I'm kind of interested to see what they do with that. Maybe they're going a little too crazy with doing all these universes beyond. They also did announce too that for every standard set they have, they're also going to be doing another Universe Beyond set to go with that. So it means if we get 3 standard sets, we're going to get 3 Universe Beyond sets as well. So we might be getting a little bit fatigued here with all these sets coming out, but we'll see what Wizards does and how they all correlate together. But this is kind of what we know so far moving forward. Another thing too, we do know about 2026, we're going to be going back to Lorwyn, so I'm looking forward to that. That was one of my favorite sets they probably ever made. I really enjoyed that set as a whole, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that and going back to that. That's going to be fun. As well as starting in 2027, standard rotation is going to be different. So instead of like how it used to be like the fall set would kind of push standard rotation, it's just going to be the first of the year. So on January 1st, XYZ sets are going to drop off, and then only these sets are legal. So that will definitely help out and be nice for newer players. Definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to kind of like keeping things more concise and easy to understand of what's rotating out of standard, what's not going to be here, what's going to be here type situation. So that's going to be really nice that they did that. But this is kind of like what we have as like the game plan so far for sets that are coming out. Now obviously we still have Foundations coming out in November, so we get forward to looking to that. That set's going to be 5 years of standard. It's going to be in for 5 years of standard, so I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with that. And starting off, we have Sad Robot or Solemn Simulacrum coming back. It is the Buy a Box promo for Foundation, so that's going to be cool. And then Phyrexian Arena also getting printed into standard, as well as it's going to be the like bundle promo. So like when you go buy a bundle, that's going to be a guaranteed card in that bundle. Definitely cool to see these cards back. Do I think they're going to make a super big impact? I'm not 100% sure. I know Solemn Simulacrum has made been playable when it was played, or when it was legal in standard before. Will it still be? I'm not really sure. It is kind of one of these weird type creatures where sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's just mediocre. We don't really know. Same thing with Phyrexian Arena. Could be really good, could be really bad. It's going to be in for 5 years, so I'm sure at one point in time these guys will find a home, find a place. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. The temples are coming back into standard. These are going to be legal for 5 years. It's going to be really cool to kind of see these I think it's a really good baseline land, essentially, where, you know, it enters taps all the time. You get to scry one. It's not terrible. It does have, you know, we have mana fixing here for all the colors. They're putting all the 10 temples into standard, so that will be good to see. And kind of like our baseline of like, we will always have this as mana fixing essentially for the next 5 years. Now, obviously, we could have the other lands get permanent into the other sets. This isn't going to be what we only have, but this is what we will guaranteedly have at all times. I'm kind of happy about this. Like I said, I think it's a very good baseline type thing going on with standard, and I think it's just good to see. Whoops. Moving on, we got kind of like sideboard staples is what I kind of call these. We have like Disenchant getting printed back in. Duress is going to be legal for 5 years. Sorcerer's Spyglass, Soul Guide Lantern, and Negate. All these cards are going to be legal now for 5 years. So we'll basically always have these in standard. I think these are kind of like some of the best cards to print. You want kind of these like staple type effects, or like these cards you want to have, right? You must always want like Duress, because there's always some kind of control spell-based deck that you want this in. Soul Guide Lantern's there to help us against graveyard hate. As a whole, obviously there could be other and better graveyard hate printed, but that's kind of like always our bare bottom. We always had to have this. Negate's always good to have against like the control decks as like, you know, a tempo-based deck, or the control decks having against combo decks, things like that. Just always good to have. And it's always good to have some kind of disenchant effect guaranteed in the format. We got the Demonic Pact Harmless Offering back, so that's kind of interesting. This combo has kind of been around for a little bit. It was in standard before. Kind of cool to see it come back. Obviously, it's one of those things where I don't know if this is going to be super playable or not. There's some of the other cards that we have that Harmless Offering also goes well with. So it'll be interesting to see if this kind of makes like a real deck, or if it's just kind of more of a meme, or maybe we'll 2 or 3 sets down the line, or maybe a year or 2 down the line, we'll get a bunch of, you know, cards that work well with these, and, you know, we'll have a whole constructed deck around it. Because Foundations is really just there to make the foundations of a deck, or to help build the foundations of a deck. They're not there to like, we're not looking for anything busted, we're not looking for anything crazy that's going to be coming out of this set or anything like that. So I'm really happy to see like these kind of like iconic cards, if you will, coming back into standard here for the next 5 years. Kind of like keep the game open, keep the game fun and fresh, so should be really interesting to see. We also finally got the 2 new Planeswalkers here as well, coming from what we already had revealed for the original 3. We had, you know, a Chinese Pride Caller, we had Vivian, and we had, wow, drawing a blank on the last one. Liliana, the Death Horde. We had the 6 mana one. So now we have Chandra, Flame Shaper. Notably, it is 7 mana, 5 generic and 2 red for a 6 loyalty, plus 2. You get to add 3 red, exile top 3 cards in your library. Choose 1, you may play that card this turn. You get to create a copy of a token of the target creature you control, except it has haste and sacrifice at the beginning of the end step. And then -4 gets to deal 4 damage divided among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers. So kind of interesting. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to play in standard. Obviously, you know, we're just kind of getting into it, so we'll see what happens with that. And then we have another Kaido, which is our mono blue one, 1 and 2 blue, 3 loyalty. And then he has whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to put a loyalty counter on him. He has this +1, which up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Draw a card, then discard a card. -2, you get to make a 2/1 blue ninja token. And then -9, you get an emblem whenever a player casts a spell, you create a 2/1 blue ninja creature token. So kind of interesting as a whole. And this is kind of like what we've gotten so far out of what's going on in Magic coming in 2025, as well as what's coming in Foundations. Lots of new cards, lots of reprints, and solid reprints. I think are going to really help out the format. Let me know what you guys are wanting to see in Foundations. I'll keep you guys updated with all this new information, new things that are coming out, and I'll catch you guys next time.